with the United States playing England, talking about pretty ugly games. We watched that one together as well. What were your thoughts and what were your takeaways from that England and United States matchup?
Well, I think you can look at this from two perspectives. You can look at it from an English perspective, and you can look at it from an American perspective, and it's completely different. I'm
Absolutely.
gonna I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna touch on the English perspective as well. I think you're gonna hone in on that. I'm gonna go in at it from an American's perspective, and the United States, they played excellently. It was a absolute joy to watch from an American perspective. This was exactly what we needed to see after that disappointing result, against Wales. Where I feel like for the most part we were the better team, and ultimately Wales, they came out in the second half and they dominated us, and they nicked a goal, and it was a disappointing 1-1 draw. Coming in, I don't think anyone had too high of expectations of this match because we all thought England was this absolute world beater coming off of a 6-2 win against Iran. And, to be honest, even me and you, we both expected England to win this game comfortably. However, that's exactly what didn't happen. It was the exact opposite. From minute one, the United States came out on the front foot. And you have to give 100% credit to the United States midfield, led by Weston McKennie, led by Tyler Adams, and led by Yunus Musa. They absolutely dominated the England midfield. And this was the pivotal portion of the match here. And this is no disrespect to Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice because they're great players. But this midfield three of the United States played better. They just quite simply played better. They dominated the match, and that allowed the United States to control the game. For the most part, England might have had a little bit more possession, but the better chances all came from the United States, and it all came from that midfield. Tyler Adams and Musa and McKennie were able to drive forward, get Timothy Weah, and get Pulisic involved. Ultimately, that's where our chances came from. They came from the midfield pushing out onto the wing and whipping the ball in, and Pulisic, our best chance probably, taking that kind of
Yeah, right off the crossbar.
weird
Yeah.
angled shot, hit the crossbar. You know, it was an ugly game of football, all things considered, but it's the way that the United States needed this game to go in order to get a result like this against England. If England were playing and they're firing on all cylinders, that wasn't going to be the way the United States was going to get a win here. They needed it to be a little scrappy. They needed it to be a midfield contest. And if that was the case, they were going to have a chance to get a result. That's exactly what happened. You have to give 100% credit to Greg Berhalter. I got on him a little bit after the Wales game. He came into this game. He set the team up brilliantly. Perfect lineup. And I expect this lineup to be the one we use next game as well. You have to give credit to him. The United States, they came out and they were the better team. And nobody expected that to be the case, when we were coming into the game. We expected England to dominate. So, as a United States fan, this game didn't have too much impact on us going through to the round of 16 unless we were able to win, because we all knew it was going to come down to the Iran game. And I'm going to get into the Iran game in a second here. But from an English perspective of this game, it was an absolutely pitiable performance. Absolutely disgraceful. It was disgraceful. You have this team. If you look at this lineup front to back, it's a great team. I mean, you got Harry Kane, you got Mason Mount, you got Raheem Sterling, you got Bukayo Saka, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. Do I need to go on? This team is absolutely loaded. And that was the performance we got. They created absolutely nothing. Their best chance of the whole game came on a cutback to Harry Kane, I think, in the 10th minute. After that, they created pretty much nothing. They didn't deserve to win this game. And to be fair, if anything, they probably deserve to lose the game based on how it all went. And that is an absolute disgrace with this team. And, you have to put, for me, this I can't, obviously, like, you blame the players on the pitch, but I'm not even going to do that. This blame for me, and I'm pretty sure you would agree, all goes on Gareth Southgate. It all goes on Gareth Southgate. Playing this anti-football with this England team is a disgrace. He should have been sacked before the World Cup. It wasn't happened. He should have, to be honest, he should have been sacked after the Euros. Like this England team is too good to be playing such ugly, bad, pathetic football. It is absolutely disgraceful. Gareth Southgate, he should have been sacked yesterday. He should have been sacked last year. He should be sacked tomorrow, today. Get this man out of there. If I'm England, I'm thinking about sacking him now. In the middle of the tournament, it's getting that bad. Obviously, I doubt that's going to happen, but I would consider it. I genuinely would. It is pathetic, and I'm sure you would agree. What are your thoughts on the game?
Well, I got to give all credit to the United States. They played, like you said, they played brilliantly. They played exactly how they needed to because this is what they wanted. They wanted to go in. Obviously, everybody wants to win, but they definitely wanted this game saying, hopefully we can squeeze a draw. And that's what they got. And kudos to them. They deserved it. They probably should have deserved to win the game. But like you said, This was an absolute crime against humanity performance from England. And I'm not even gonna really criticize a bunch of the players because they played poorly, but it like you said, it comes down to Gareth Southgate. This he just doesn't know. He just doesn't know what he's watching. I don't believe he watches the games. Like he sits there, but I truly believe he's not watching this game because just everything he does doesn't make sense. You're going into halftime, you're 0-0, and you decide to sub off Jude Bellingham for Jordan Henderson. You need a goal, and you decide, you know what? Let's put in George Henderson. What? You take out Jude Bellingham. You take off a 19-year-old for what? A 30-plus-year-old. You leave Mason Mount. It's just so bad of the selections of the team, and just he has his favorites. It's so clear as day that he prefers Mason Mount over Phil Foden. It's clear as day he has favorites in this team, and it's ridiculous. Look, you fancy Pep Guardiola, yeah? Pep Guardiola, the best manager in the world currently right now. Pep Guardiola has had the chance. He's had Raheem Sterling. He's had Grealish, and he's had Phil Foden. Which one of those players do you think Pep Guardiola likes the most? It's Phil Foden. I don't know what he's done to Gareth Southgate for him just to be in the doghouse, but the fact that you're choosing those other two players over Phil Foden just shows you don't know the game. You don't know what you're doing. Because if I trust the best manager in the world. I trust that he says Phil Foden is better than Raheem Sterling and Jack Grealish. He should be playing. And the fact that he hasn't played a minute in 2 games is disgraceful. He should be locked up for this. This is so bad.
Keep him in Qatar.
Just keep him in. Like, if any English fans defending him, you should be prosecuted as well for treason. You're given the most absolute gems of players. You're given such the golden generation, and you're wasting it. You're just throwing it away. Like, literally, any other team would wish to have these players, and you're throwing it all away, playing this horrible brand of football, just this defensive style, and it just doesn't make sense. And I scratch my head. I'm like, is this real? Is this an actual guy? And to stack up on it, he goes into the press conference after it. Obviously, England get booed off.
Deservingly so.
They're getting booed. And Gareth Southgate gets asked, so what do you think of the booing? He says, I don't think that was directed toward us. Gareth, who the fuck is that? Who are they booing at? Are they booing at the United States?
They just played the game of their lives.
Why would the fans boo the underdog who got a favorable result? That literally makes no sense. I don't understand where you even come up with that. Have you watched any sport? I've never seen a sport where the underdog gets a really good performance, maybe not a win, but
gets booed.
It gets booed. That doesn't make sense. Literally, you watch boxing, you watch anything. The favorite, you watch Floyd Mayweather. Maybe he has a horrible fight and he doesn't win as decisively, or he doesn't win at all. He gets booed. The boo's going to him because he's the favorite. You're the favorite. You should be beating the United States. You are better than the United States in every single position. There's not a position on the field that they are better than you at. And they outplayed you in every single way. That is disgraceful. He should be sacked right now. I've seen enough. I thought the Iran game was, a good signs to come, but that really was just individual player brilliance. They're playing in spite of Gareth Southgate. I could bet everything that Gareth Southgate, after that performance, they score 6-2. He probably said, I didn't think we could score that many goals. This guy doesn't understand that this team is so attackingly gifted, and you're still not using every single tool in the box, in your toolbox. Phil Foden should be playing over Mason Mount. He should be playing at least a minute. It doesn't make sense, man.
And it doesn't even begin to touch on the fact that Trent is also in the doghouse, and whether or not you like Trent or not, he should be contributing at some point. It's some way.
You are literally there 0-0. You need a goal. You should be subbing on Trent and Phil Foden because those are two attacking minded players. And he doesn't because he just doesn't fancy them. That's that's inexcusable. It's despicable. He just personally he does not like these guys. So that's why he does not play them. It's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. And I can't stand for it no more. And there's no England fan in the world that should be still supporting this guy. I don't give a shit that he took you to the Euro final. How did you play in that final? You played horrible. You lost to a team that didn't make the World Cup. I mean,
You had an international trophy right there gifted to you, and
you
you
had it
bottled it.
right
You
there.
bottled it.
It was coming home, and you got one. Your manager set up a game plan for you to get one shot on target in 120 minutes.
I don't
It's
even know.
just it's horrid. It's horrid. He can't make adjustments, and England are I I know I was real high on them, but I don't see a shot they win at all. With it's the same old England. It's like I'm talking about old school Cowboys, man. It's like it's the same old shit. They have not changed at all. They're the same team that we've always thought they were, and it's despicable. I mean, they're wasting a golden generation.
That's what I was going to say. England are wasting a golden, and this is the golden generation for me. I mean, what a group of players England has, and England are wasting this golden generation because of Gareth Southgate, because of one man that they decided to keep in as this manager. It doesn't
Gareth
make any
Southgate.
sense.
Gareth Southgate would not get a job in the Premier League. He wouldn't get a job as an assistant coach in the Premier League. I would doubt that he gets a job in the second division. He is abominable. He does not know what he's watching. Like literally, you could put anybody out there. Like literally, just get someone from the stand. Get one of the commentators or some shit. This
Martin
guy doesn't
Tyler.
know what he's. Martin Tyler, get him out there. It's just despicable, man. It's just a horror to watch. And I think out of all the games that have been played, it's definitely rivaling. At least Argentina had 2 goals. This
Yeah.
game was just a horror to watch. It was just so boring and horrid. And England played into the United States' hands. They got them. United States are leaving that game saying thank you, and now they just got to win against Iran.
Yeah,
But
no, the United States are definitely feeling confident, but it's like I just can't get over the fact that England really think that Gareth Southgate is the one to manage this team. I mean, they have this golden generation, and they've really came to the conclusion after everything that they've said this is the guy. That
I
you
think
really don't think you could get a better manager. There's so many managers who would love to have this job, and you really sit here and you think, they've probably been in the boardroom saying, oh, are we gonna keep him? And they really think, yes, this is the guy who will lead us.
the boardroom's praying that he gets to the quarterfinals just so they get a reason to sign him. Look, he got us to a quarterfinal, guys. We have to renew his contract, and it's just like, bro, I will literally contemplate just not watching England anymore. This is just horrible. If Southgate goes any longer, I hope they get to the round 16 and they get bounced out. Please, football gods, something happened and to kick England out real early. So there's a reason, the undeniable reason that Southgate can't keep this job.
Well, look, if Southgate somehow manages to scam his way into keeping this job for any longer after the World Cup, I won't know what to say. It will be the biggest disgrace in footballing history. If the Footballing Association sits here and says, after this World Cup and after what we've all been seeing, that this guy, Gareth Southgate, deserves to go on for any longer, he should have already been sacked, by the way. If he goes on for any longer, England, they're never winning.
Tournament. He should be sacked right now after that performance, And it's no disrespect to the United States. I mean, but let's not act like the United States aren't like their prayer and they're the highest at the highest ceiling for them is the quarterfinals. This England team, their ceiling is winning it. They are expected to go in and really make a shot to win this. This team isn't getting anywhere near that. I think as of right now, their ceiling is about as high as the United States, man. Like they're looking like a quarterfinal team. And to have the amount of players they do, I mean, if the FA look at this and they say, I think we're playing good enough, then obviously they don't care either. And it's gonna have to take a lot is gonna have to take a ginormous blunder because they love this guy. He's a yes man. He says everything they love to hear, you know. But there's a lot of England fans that are fed up with this, and they are the loudest. They are the rowdiest. Not always they're very crude, but they. I mean, they don't go far in this tournament. I wouldn't want to be the FA having to deal with them.
The only reason why England have a prayer in making the quarterfinals is because, they're going to be playing the runner-up of Group A, and it looks like that is either going to be Senegal or Ecuador. And no disrespect to either of those teams, but Senegal is without their best player, and Ecuador, they're decent, but they're nowhere. They're about on the same level as the United States. So they might be able to make the quarterfinals, because they should. And I mean, if they play like this, they might not, but they should win that game. But as soon as England plays a top side, a Spain, a France, a Brazil, anybody that has any bit of quality, real quality, they're getting bounced. It will be an absolute horror show to watch.
They play Brazil, they're getting spanked.
Oh my
They're
God.
getting killed. They're getting killed.
That's just, if they play any team that has anything, have any bit of quality, they will get absolute spanked. And it's going to be funny to watch in some ways, but also sad to watch because this team is too good to be losing to some of these teams, that I'm thinking they could lose to in the knockout round.
Yeah,
they should be making the final, and I'm thinking Spain will knock this team out if they play.
Oh, I mean, well, still, we'll have to see. But I mean, Spain, they look very good.
Yeah, but wait, hold on. Before we move on to the next one, I just wanted to get your opinion because looking forward to the United States, look, England, regardless of how bad they've been, they're going to move on to the next round. But the United States, it all comes down to this. And obviously, the United States, their expectations isn't to go to the final or anything like that. But you'd like for them to make it out of the group. It would be, a good achievement for this young group of players. One of the youngest squads in the World Cup. But it all comes down.
The second youngest.
Pretty much, yeah. It all comes down to this one crucial game against Iran. So I'm going to go ahead and ask this to you, and then I'll give my thoughts. Will the United States beat Iran and make the round of 16 of the World Cup?
It's tough. It's tough, but I'm going to have to say United States take it in a 1-0 win against Iran. Iran aren't bad. They're pretty good. They beat Wales 2-0, which United States struggled to do. United States dominated Wales, but they couldn't find that finishing blow. They gave up a bad pen. But against Iran, United States have that momentum, and Iran do have a bit of momentum as well, scoring 2 past Wales. But I'm gonna edge it out for the United States to win a close game, and because they have to win, they can't draw. It's a must win. This is the the most must win to the highest extent, because we said Argentina was a must win. Realistically, yeah, but they could have drawn and won and still went through. This one, United States can't draw. If they draw, they're out. This is a must win, high pressure, and this is going to be the most pressure that probably these young players have ever had in their lives. So, especially in against a team like Iran, they have to perform, and I think they'll be able to do it.
Now, I mean, it's going to be a tough game, but I 100% agree. I said coming into the tournament that Iran was a very, very difficult opponent. I said that, going into their game against England, I expected them to give England a tough shout. It just didn't quite fall their way because they gave up an early goal, and they couldn't quite execute their style of football that they wanted to. England ended up putting 6 past them. Iran is not 4 goals worse than England. Definitely not, especially based on how England have been playing now. They're just not. It was just a little bit of a fluke result, in my opinion. But with that being said, the United States is coming off of a draw against England that is going to give them confidence. It's going to give them momentum. And I 100% expect them to take it against Iran. I think that from the minute one, they're going to come out on the front foot. And I think they're going to hope to get an early goal. Even if they don't, I expect USA to be able to win this game 2-0, in my opinion. I think Iran are obviously going to be, going for this game as well. They know that they need a result. I think it's going to create open spaces. And ultimately, Iran's defense is not quite as good as England. So I think there are going to be more holes. There's going to be more space. And this game for me comes down to the midfield. And I think that the United States has an excellent midfield. Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, and McKennie. Obviously, I hope that McKennie and Musa are 100% fit. I think they will be. I think that the United States will be able to dominate the midfield again, like they did against England. And if they're able to do that, they're going to win this game. They're going to create enough chances because Pulisic and Weah have been playing great this tournament. And ultimately, it's going to just come down to, can the United States get the finishing touch? Because they're creating some chances, but it looks like the main weakness is that number 9 position. I don't think it's going to quite come down to the number 9. I think that they're going to be able to find a way and nick a goal, maybe 2, and come out of this on top. I 100% expect it to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's going to be a failure, in my opinion, because look, if you told that the United States camp, you told the fans, if you told them it was going to come down to a winner take all pretty much game against Iran, they're taking that. You're signing the dotted line and you're saying, I'm taking that all day. And this is what it's come down to. And the United States is a better team. They are a better team. So you expect them to win as the better team. If they don't, it will be a disappointment. But all things considered, the United States they've done well this tournament. They've proven themselves. But if you really want to prove yourself, you have to win this game. You know, the United States teams of old generations with Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey, they made the round of 16. That's what they did. They almost won a couple times. You know, remember the Belgium game. If you really want to cement yourself in this generation going forward for the United States and inspire, you know, a lot of the youth in the United States, you have to win this game against Iran and make the round of 16. It is a must for the culture of soccer, and it is extremely important. And I expect them to be able to do it. If they don't, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. But I've been very confident, you know, ever since the England result that we will do it. I've been telling you for a couple of days now. So
Yeah, I agree. I think this game is set up for them to do well, and I think they'll advance.
yeah, no, yeah, I think they will as well, and it will be credit to them if they are able to do that. You know, because they deserve it based on what I've seen. You know, they played 2 good games, and hopefully they play a third. They're going to need to.